This session's first Veteran and Military Committee. And I'm really excited about this, and I'm really nervous about being in this situation, but I'm excited about it. I really like this team. And we've done some good things in the past sessions, and I see us doing good things as we go forward. And I believe we are a team. And so that's how, right over here, Scott, feel free on anything that you need to talk about, get me after the meeting, talk to me, I believe in being open with everything. We're going to, this session is going to be a little different. It's going to have a compressed schedule, and we're going to have to move through some things. But fortunately, our committee, we may not get bound up, but I'll talk about that here in just a second. What I want to first start off with is let's do the request for bill introductions. Any bill introductions or a request for the committee to sponsor the bill? Do we have any? Okay, we'll move on, but let me say something about that. You're going to see some vague comments like in the House calendar, things like that, on call of chair. It's going to be, we're going to have our meetings next Tuesday and Wednesday, but when it comes out, it'll be on call of chair. What's happening right now is the bills have not come in, and there's a lot of them out there that are going to come, but right now they haven't. So it's hard for Betty and I to kind of, all right, what do we need to put down for this? There's deadlines we have to meet on certain things like getting the agendas in and things like that. So have patience with us, and we'll get as much information as we can out to you as quick as possible. And what I want to do now is introduce everybody. We're going to go around the room. And I want to start, first of all, with the staff. You guys, these are the workers that really keep us going and keep us on the right track. And if we can go ahead, Carly, if you want to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, committee. My name is Carly Choi, and I am a fourth-year reviser in the Office of Reviser of Statutes, and this is my fourth year as the lead reviser on this committee.
Hello, my name is Chloe Pavlik. I'm the AV technician for this room, and this is actually my first year of session, but I'm very happy to start working with you guys.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Natalie Nelson from Legislative Research. This is my 11th session, and I have been staffing this committee since 2017 with a break last year. So in case you're like, who is this person? So.
My name is Mike Ditch. I'm with Legislative Research. This is my second session, first time on this committee, and looking forward to it.
Okay, let's start with our members and
Yeah, Sean Chauncey, representing the 65th District, which is a portion of Fort Riley, Junction City, Geary County.
Morning. Representative Virgil Weigel, 56th District. That's here in Topeka, south central part of the state, the city, U.S. Army veteran. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dr. Megan Steele. I represent District 51, which includes the far east side of Manhattan, all of Wamego, and the Great Wabaunsee County.
Thank you, neighbor. Representative Tim Johnson, 38th District, which includes Leavenworth County. I do not have Fort Leavenworth, but I'm close to it. A fifth year on the committee and a proud Army father, son serving in the Middle East conflict right now.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Scott Hill from Abilene, Kansas. I represent Dickinson and about half of Marion County, which is kind of around, circles around Fort Riley. So we have a strong military presence there. This is my third year on the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dan Goddard. I'm from the 7th District, which is the majority of Labette County, Parsons, Altamont, Mound Valley, and I have a slice along the western edge of Neosho County to include Thayer and about half of Chanute. Labette County is home to the Kansas Army Ammunition Plant, and I don't know how the heck I got to be involved with that because I'm an Air Force veteran. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Representative Bill Bloom, District 64. I have Cloud, Dickinson, Clay, and Riley. I'm a National Guard vet, and I have part of Fort Riley.
We'll go on and introduce ourselves here, and then we'll go back to Representative Ruiz. Vice Chair?
So I'm Nate Butler, representative for the 68th District, which encompasses Fort Riley, southern Geary County, a little bit of southern Riley County, all of Morris County, a little bit, got like a few houses over in Harrington, a few houses over in Alta Vista, just whatever they need me at over there. The long military career, we had a great career as a Army Medical Service Corps officer for 22 years and enjoyed life. And so now I get to experience this side of it. So it's great to be here. We've got a great committee. Looking forward to the year and seeing what we can get past. It's going to improve the favorability of Kansas in the military light. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Mary Lynn Poskin, Kansas House District 20, Leawood and Overland Park. My father was a career Air Force pilot, B-52 pilot, so I bring a dependent viewpoint to the committee, and I am so honored to be ranking this year and to be serving on this committee for my 5th year in a row. Every year I've been in the legislature, I've asked for this committee. So thank you. Looking forward to it.
Give you time to settle in. I am Representative Mike Thompson, and I represent the 33rd District, Wyandotte County, Bonner Springs going east to Edwardsville, Muncie, and then into Kansas City, Kansas, that lower part of where Turner is. And this is my first time as ranking, or as a chair, and I'm really looking forward to this. I'm excited about this. And I think we're going to be able to do a lot of good things, and I look forward to working with each one of you. And my military, I was 22 and a half years with military. I was with the Navy back in the 70s, and then a lot of time in between, and then went back on active duty with the Army at age 42. And Army has a sense of humor. My first assignment was 82nd Airborne, so at 42 years old. So think how you feel right now. You know, that was kind of how I felt then. But that's why I walk slow and hobble. The other service-related disability, I guess we'd put it, is I can't hear a lot of things, and I have my hearing aids. So please use your microphone and speak up, and I really appreciate it. And I'll know more of what's going on. Representative Carlin.
I think you probably just want to know who, what, when, where. Yes, Sydney Carlin. This is my first year on the Veterans Committee, and I'm looking forward to it. I represent the east side of Manhattan. A lot of young soldiers live in my district, and I have been very involved in all of the affairs at Fort Riley for many years. And my first bill that I ever introduced was to give in-state tuition to soldiers if they're, or soldiers' family members if they get redeployed somewhere else. So I've done a lot of things for Fort Riley and for our military, but not so much for the veterans. So I'm excited about what I'm learning already. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now, the most important person in the room.
Who doesn't know how to work a microphone? Betty Boaz, this is my 24th session up here with Legislature, my second with Veterans and Military. One thing I would ask is if you will look at the roster sheet that's in front of you and make sure your phone numbers and room numbers and everything are accurate. And if not, please let me know. And if we have an open door policy, if there's anything we can do to make it easier for you, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Betty is great, and so give us a holler if there's any questions or anything that needs to be done, or I'm not clear on some things, just give us a holler. And I am so thankful for Betty. She is what keeps this, keeps the wheels rolling. So thank you very much, Betty. Let's go to some of the, just some housekeeping things. And at the end, I'm going to let you all introduce yourself and then say a few things at the end, because I know a couple of folks have some things to, some announcements to make, and so we'll do that. Mike and you. Want to introduce yourself real quick, Ken? Representative Collins?
Sorry I'm late, but I had an early morning appointment, so I'm glad I actually made it here at all. But I represent the second district in southeast Kansas, which is parts of Neosho and Crawford counties, and I've been on this committee for a while now. But I just and as far as my military background, I have 4 years in active duty Air Force and 6 years in the Kansas Army National Guard. So I've been around a little bit. And Chairman Thompson here, he claims that I was coming out of anesthesia. I said, "Go Navy," but I have no recollection of that at all. But it's great to be here.
Welcome. Thank you. All right, let's take a look at, first of all, you have in front of you some House rules. These rules are standing rules for right now. They're going to change possibly, maybe some additions. What leadership is going to do is put together a common set of rules for all committees. So if people go to different committees, at least you're following the same rules, which I like that idea. And so for right now, just kind of skim down through those and see if there's any that you have a question about that we need to answer now. Thing I'd mention is the cellular phones, be sure they're shut off, but also another important thing, more of a courtesy, when people are speaking, when people are at the podium, not to be on your phone unless you have material that you're looking at that's on your phone, then that's a different story. But a common courtesy there. The other thing is, and this, I know you had an appointment, Ken, but I used to be a chaplain, so I called everybody by the first name. This is going to be a hard thing for me to break, so forgive me. Representative Collins had knew about the doctor's appointment, but try to be here on time, and I'll try to end it on time, and that's my promise to you. I don't do very good at that at times, so but I'll try. But looking at being on time. If there's ever any news media, one of the things, and I don't see this yet, we're going to not have news media come forward of the ends of the desk there or the podium. And that's a rule that we're going to be looking at, and it's going to be in place from the House floor to the committee rooms. Any questions that you have about any of the rules that we have right now? No. Representative Ruiz, you with us? Introduce yourself
Yes.
and welcome to the committee again.
Oh,
Good to
thank
see
you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Very excited for you to be the chair. And I'm Representative Susan Reese, and I represent District 23, which is Shawnee, Lenexa, and Overland Park. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's good to see you again. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. We hope you get better quick. What I want to take a look at, and really, I want to pitch a tent on this, the calendar for this year. Everybody's got a house calendar. Really get that calendar and look at it. Let me give you a couple of dates on this, and let's ask questions if you have them, because we want to make sure we get this. Because of our schedule is going to be condensed, and we're going to be pushing hard on any bills or anything like that, there are deadlines that are out there that I want to announce now. I don't want to wait till the meeting before the deadline or anything like that. If you'll look at your calendar, the 2 days right now that we as the committee need to be fully aware of and always looking at is the 27th of January and the 30th of January. Those right now are our 5-meter targets that we've got to make sure we hit. And on January 27th, this is the last day a member of the legislature can request a bill from the revisor's office that the member will sponsor themselves. So an individual person that's sponsoring that bill to be introduced, that's the last day that they can request that. Now this other one, the 30th, because we are a Tuesday, Thursday class, it's like being in school again. The deadline is actually the 3rd of February for this, but because we are that Tuesday, Thursday, the 30th of January, is for the Veterans and Military Committee. This is the last day a member of the committee, another member of the legislature, or a conferee can come before the committee and ask the committee to sponsor a bill. We will ask for introductions at the beginning of each meeting. So if you have bills that need to be introduced, please get those in as soon as possible. But those are our deadlines, and it's going to go quick. And there's going to be a lot of bills come in, and I think there's bills out there, and we'll talk about that when we introduce the gentleman in the back. Any questions on that, on the 2 dates? There's other dates that are listed. Look at your calendar on those, and we'll talk about those later, but those aren't our 5-meter targets. The 2 that are important, the 27th of January and the 30th of January. Now, one thing that I just learned this past couple months, and y'all probably already know it, when a person comes in, we always call it, they come in and introduce the bill. That's not the introduction of the bill. That is a request to sponsor the bill. If the person comes before the committee, they are requesting the committee to sponsor the bill. And then it gets worked, we go to the revisers. Once that's done, and once it eventually gets an RS number, then it'll be introduced on the floor, or it'd be read on the floor. That's proper terminology, is read on the floor. When you hear Susan read those bills, that's the reading of the bill. At that time, it becomes introduced. So that's the official introduction of a bill. Any questions on any of those? Let's not move past this until we really are clear on it, because I don't want any of y'all to miss an opportunity to bring a bill. Okay? We're going to try to make every meeting count. That's obvious. I don't like to have meetings just to have a meeting. So, but if there's nothing being discussed, we will not have a meeting. Your house calendar, keep an eye, you all, for the newcomers, I think you're probably learning where to look for where things are scheduled and when things are going to happen. If not, ask somebody afterwards, and we'll we can head you in the right direction, because there's a couple areas where you can see what's going to be scheduled and if a meeting's not scheduled. Okay? Our next meeting will be the 21st, so next Tuesday will be our next meeting. Make sure I've got everything covered. Again, Betty is going to request cell numbers where you can be reached at any time. And Betty will get those numbers, get with you to get your numbers. These numbers will only be used if there's an urgent need to. It'll be kept confidential within our office. They will not be put out to the public. Again, welcome back. And we do have an open door policy. Please come and talk to us anytime if there's any questions. And being new, there may be some questions that you might have. May really confuse things. But at this time, what I'd like to do is let each of the gentlemen in the back introduce themselves and share who you are and who you represent. It's an important group of people. And General Turner, why don't you lead us off? One other thing I might mention, as y'all introduce yourself and give who you represent, maybe go ahead and share some bills that you all are planning to present to the committee. And that way we can be thinking about that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for having the opportunity to be able to present a little bit about us and our organization to you this morning. So my name is Bill Turner. I'm the Executive Director of the Kansas Office of Veteran Services. With me today is Eric Rohleder, who is our deputy, and he'll get up and introduce himself as well. Two notable members of our team that you may see here in the hallways and dealing with the committee are Rob Light, who is our Director of Operations. He is a veteran of the United States Army, a signal officer, has served in enlisted duty, and then he served for like 27 years here as an officer in the Army. And then also Shelley Sweeney, who is our Outreach and Director of Public Affairs, who is also a veteran, served in the Air Guard, and is a new member of our team here in the last several weeks. We have 2 veterans homes, 4 cemeteries, and then kind of the foundation of all that we do is provide facilitation, assistance, education, and information to our veterans and their families, and assist them with benefits and claims that they have earned, quite frankly, from their service to the nation. Personally, the Army and the military has been a passion of mine and my family. I have an uncle who served in the Navy. My father enlisted in the Marines out of high school and then later served in the Army. I have 3 older brothers who all served in the Army. Between my 3 brothers and I think we have over 119 years of service between the 4 of us that served in the Army. I have nieces and nephews that have served in the Air Force and the Army as well. And I also have a son and daughter who are serving right now. My son in the Army, and my daughter is in the Kansas Guard, as it were, right now while she's attending medical school. So it's very much in our lifeblood. We're very proud of it, and we're very happy with the opportunity to be able to do this. And then lastly, it's my wife that has also served. So she was in the Army for over 20 years. So it's very much ingrained in me. A lot of the things that I learned here are probably new with the Veterans Administration, the Veterans Affairs, and working with the state. But it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor for us to be able to do that. So thank you for all that you do to represent. I mean, we're out there representing the 350 to 400,000 veterans and their families and their dependents that exist around the state and helping them. And we look forward to working with you in that endeavor. So thank you very much.
Would you mind mentioning the website that we can go through or give to our constituents? And when we talked, there was a website that before you all, the Veterans.
Yes, sir.
Kansas Office of Veterans Services. And that was a name change since last session.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so previously we were the Kansas Commission on Veterans Affairs. We are now the Kansas Office of Veterans Services. And our website's the ks.gov. And at that website, you can learn a little bit more about us and the leadership that exists in our different programs, from our 2 veterans homes to the 4 cemeteries to veteran services. And then you can locate, if you go in there and look at veteran services in our field office locations, you can find the veteran service representative that is geographically located around the state that may be in close proximity to your districts, to the areas that you represent. We encourage you to reach out to them as you need help. And if not, then you can reach to us through webmail or through direct contact with us on that website. Contact us and we will be happy to address or to assist with any of the concerns that your constituents may have regarding veterans activities. The one thing I did not mention, sir, is that we do have one piece of legislation that we are going to be bringing forward that we've already kind of started to work with Carly in the past, but it's to kind of further clarify the definition of veterans within the state and as it applies to various programs and benefits that are available for veterans. So it's kind of a further clarification of some legislation that was initiated last session, and it's just to help provide some clarity to that. So that's all, sir.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it.
So the website, it's KOV, Victor S. .ks.gov. Sir.
He's quite a bit taller than I am. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate the opportunity. Just, Director Turner obviously said quite a bit, and you're going to hear our agency overview here in a couple weeks, kind of our annual report. But I would like to say a couple things. I'm Eric Roller. I'm the Deputy Director. I've been with the agency now over 17 years. Started out as a veteran service representative after I retired from the Air Force, went back to Hayes, and I started in a field office out there and kind of moved up. I've done quite a few jobs in the agency. Only thing I haven't done, and I hope the director does not ask me to do it, is run one of our veterans homes, although I would if I'm asked, but yeah. So, just real quick, put a date, please jot down this date, or 2 dates, 28th and 29th. We talked about this the other morning when you're welcome back, Veterans Caucus, but right up here at Mayette at the Prairie Band Conference Center attached to the casino there will be a claims clinic. So, and you can, if you have a veteran or a family member, even statewide, anywhere. They could come from anywhere. The last one we held in Hayes, someone came in from South Carolina to attend this claims clinic and, had their claim adjudicated. But I would like to stress also that if you know who one of your constituents is, again, wherever they're at, if they can contact us, if they have a claim pending with the federal VA, or they would like to get more information about it, we'd be happy to speak with them. The federal VA, our partners in this, they'll pull that existing claim down, take a look at it, and if they're waiting on their medical examinations, they will get those scheduled. So when they show up at Mayetta, then that's the primary focus. Because as many of you probably know, it takes months to get these medical examinations scheduled for their claims. But anyway. Enough about that. I run the Veteran Services branch or directorate, and that's the 16 field offices around the state. Many of them are right in your districts. I just ask that if you have an issue or have a veteran that would like assistance, come through us. You can call our central office or look on the website, kovs.ks.gov, and it has a link to all of our sites out there. So. Absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to talk. So thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Sir,
All right. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Lieutenant Colonel Keith Marshall with the Kansas National Guard and the Kansas Adjutant General's Department. You can call me Keith. I go by first name. My boss, General Venerdi, sends his regrets that he couldn't be here this morning. He actually flew out down to Mississippi for his son's graduation from Air Force Cyber Warfare School. So very exciting for his family to continue that tradition of service. We don't plan to do the agency update for this committee because you basically heard it yesterday during the State of the Military. Hopefully that was informative. We really appreciate the opportunity to present to the full legislature everything that our agency is doing and working on. But that said, Mr. Chairman, if there is something specific, an initiative that we're working on or a function of our department that the committee has interest in, just let me know and we're more than happy to come in and present on a specific topic if requested. As far as things that we're working, I don't think I'm going to have any bills for the committee this session. I've got one that I'm working that will probably go through education regarding National Guard scholarships. So I think it'll probably end up in House Education Committee instead. I do want to have one date for the committee's attention. That is February 11th. February 11th is going to be Kansas Armed Forces Appreciation Day. That's a good change for us because it's always been later in the spring when the legislature is not in session. So now we'll have all of our displays set up in the rotunda, all of our units and organizations, veterans groups will be here as well, and legislators will actually be in the building to go by and visit those and learn about our formations. So it's exciting for us to be able to do that while the legislature is in session this year. In addition to that, the governor will do a proclamation supporting veterans. She'll recognize Vietnam veterans as well, and our Kansas National Guard Outstanding Soldiers and Airmen of the Year. So that's going to be a great day on February 11th, and we look forward to having you join us for that. Putting any questions, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Kelly, Military Officers Association of America, and our group is advocates for the entire military community. I've worked with this committee before. I want to put a special thanks to the reviser who took numerous emails from me last year when she was drafting bills. And we had a huge bill passed, HB 2760 last year. I think it was 95 pages, if I remember right. And she took dozens of comments from me cheerfully and accepted about 90% of them. So I really appreciate that. In your paperwork, you have a little thing with our MOA logo at the top. That's just some demographic information. And you can see we have almost 30,000 military personnel in Kansas. And it's broken down by every component. And some I want to call out especially. Down there at the bottom, we have 10 Space Force people, and they're called Guardians, by the way. Army has soldiers and Navy has sailors. The Space Force individuals are called Guardians. And the Space Force is new, was just established in 2019. It's a real thing. One unit I served in the Air Force got transferred over to the Space Force, so I consider myself an Air Force veteran as well as a Space Force veteran. If you like your GPS on your phone or in your car, the Space Force is what makes that happen. The Coast Guard. A lot of folks don't realize that right here in Topeka, just a few blocks from where we are right now, is the Coast Guard has an important activity that does all their pay. Their pay office is over in the federal courthouse to the northeast of us. So there's 74 Coast Guard active duty people there. And then of course there's Coast Guard Reserve. Now, of course, a lot of military folks are not single. They have families, and you can see we have 41,000 military family members. And I want to point out these numbers are 12 and a half months old. This is the end of calendar year 23, which is the most recent data that the Department of Defense has published. And then there's almost 7,000 civilian personnel that work for the Department of Defense that are in Kansas. And then you'll see a much larger cohort. That's our veterans. And once again, this is a number from the Veterans Administration, and they have a demographic model they call VetPop. And VetPop predicts what the cohort of veterans is going to look like in the future. And actually, the number of veterans is going down. So we have more veterans that are passing away than we have people that are departing active service. So the number of veterans is going to go down every year you're on this committee. And then we have some special categories of veterans I want to call out. Service connected. And if someone is in the service and they become injured or they have an illness and it's related to their service, they go through a couple different processes and they become service connected. And some people use the term disabled veteran. And I know General Turner behind me here prefers the term service connected. So that's why it says service connected on here out of respect to that view. And I agree with that view 100%, but most people call it disabled veteran. And a license plate on my car says disabled veteran. We have 47,000 veterans that have some sort of disability. Now, the ones that are most severely disabled, they're rated 100%. What the philosophy behind that in the federal law is someone that's 100% rated basically can't work for pay anymore, that their economic contribution to their family and to their community is going to be zero. And so if you have somebody that's 50% rated, that's somebody that you can consider could work part-time and maybe work half of what they could work if they weren't disabled. So we have approximately, I've got that down to the single digits, 10,567. That's a demographic estimate, and that's based on the number of service-connected veterans nationwide and the percentage compared to the total number of veterans. So that's not how many folders are in the file cabinet in Kansas. That's a demographic estimate. So I wanted to make sure that I don't oversell the accuracy of that number. But I think if we say there's between 10 and 11,000 100% rated veterans in Kansas, we're pretty good shape. Our motto in MOAA is never stop serving. All of us served on active duty as either warrant officers or commissioned officers. And so I get a nice check from the Defense Finance and Accounting Service every month as a military pension, and I feel like I owe something back. So part of my owe back is an offer to you and to your staff. If you need some military advice or assistance, I'm happy to provide it. A lot of times I'm going to call Rob Like or Shelley Sweeney at the KOVS because some things fall right in their ballpark. But I've had requests for data, and I'm happy to do some demographic research. I've got an estimate of the number of veterans in each county in Kansas. If you're interested in how many veterans are in the counties that are in your district, I can shoot that out to you. I use the VA system for my medical care, so I'm experienced in navigating that. So if you have some constituents that have difficulties with VA, I might be able to give them some advice and how to, some people just don't understand the process. And if you know the process, it's a lot easier. If you don't know the process, it can be very hard and confusing. And some people are good at advocating for themselves and know how to complain, and other people are not good at advocating for themselves. I want to help out the people that aren't good at advocating for themselves. I want to help your constituents. So feel free to call me. Betty has my business card. I'll be happy to talk to any of you. I'll be happy to come in your office and meet with any of you. And if you have some legislation that you want some support from our organization, please let me know. We are strictly nonpartisan. The military is a nonpartisan entity in our constitutional system. So we don't care what party you're affiliated with. What we care about are issues. We care about the military. We care about the families. We care about the veterans. In our demographics, somebody I didn't mention and that General Turner mentioned or Eric mentioned is our cemeteries. So we ask for a final bit of respect for those that have served. So that's also part of our constituency in MOAA, is making sure that burial benefits and such are kept strong. One other thing that I do is weekly, I put out a little newsletter. It's email newsletter, and I just kind of recount what's going on that's of interest to veterans and military. I will try and put every member of the committee, because we have many new members. I'll put all of you on there. And we did a lot of work in this committee last year, and Carly, probably spent too many hours at her word processor fixing things. Having said all of that, in the 95 pages, I think there's a couple things that probably need to be refined, and Carly knows one that I'm fired up about. It has to do with disability definition. Also, we had a bill last year that we wanted to get the definition of veteran in Kansas to be equal to the federal definition of veteran. And for honorably discharged veterans and for generally discharged veterans, we accomplished that. Third category is called other than honorable discharged veterans. We did not get there with that. We had some representatives who objected to counting those folks as veterans for Kansas. And the way I look at that is we need to separate the idea of who's a veteran and what benefits accrue to a veteran. If you don't want to give a certain Kansas benefit to somebody who had trouble in the military and had an other than honorable discharge, so be it. That's appropriate for the legislature, but the federal government counts those individuals as veterans, and so we should as well. Sir, I've talked for a long time. I'm happy to help anybody on this committee out at any time. Have your interns, staff members call me, email me. I'm happy to help out. Any questions, sir?
Mike or General, for the organizations. Last year we tried to push the tax bill through, and when it came back down to the House, it was reduced to 100% permanently and total disabled, is the way it was written, I believe is the wording on that. Can you explain, just so everybody might know, if that could come up again this year? I don't know if it will, but is there a difference between 100% versus a permanent total disabled veteran? So just for some clarification as we get into that, as we move closer into this session.
Sure. The bill that's being put forth this year is HB 2005. And what that will do is provide a rebate on residential property tax. And it's right now, the bill as it's drafted right now, limits that to 100% rated individuals. You can get 100% temporary rating. For example, if you have a heart attack and you have heart surgery for the period of time when you're in cardio rehabilitation, you survive all of that, you're going to get a temporary 100% rating. So the VA will give your family more money for the few months you're in rehab. But once you get better, that temporary rating goes away. So there are temporary 100% ratings. The permanent and total ratings are for conditions that medical science believes won't get better, that there isn't a cure for. If somebody has an amputation, that tissue is gone. So that's a permanent condition. So somebody that gets rated 100% permanent and total, that's this 10,567. That is something that the medical advice given to the VA is people with that condition can't get better. So that's how people get to 100% permanent and total. But there are temporary 100% ratings. And did I do okay on that? Yeah, Eric's going to come up here and improve my answer.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Mr. Chair and committee members, excuse me. So he's absolutely correct. There's actually another level of 100%, believe it or not, and that's IU, individual unemployability. If you have 70% rating and you can't work, exactly what was discussed earlier, So I think that's also taken account in 2005. It says 100% P and T, 100% and the IU as well. So yeah, it's kind of confusing, but it's not really all that difficult. Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Let me just add one other tax bill. It's 2014, and there's a companion bill, SB 10, on the Senate side, and that's a property tax bill. And if you look at the property tax statute, it says all property in Kansas is subject to tax unless specifically exempt. So right now, electric wheelchairs, motorized mobility devices that paralyzed people need to use to get around are subject to property tax. And I know Representative Poskin and I shared some emails about this last year, but that's the law right now. 2014 would exempt those things. So if you want to see those things exempted, you want to look at 2014. There's a lot of other things in 2014 that are exempted. You may not like the other things that are exempted in 2014. I won't comment on them because they're not related to the military, but it's bundled together. So there is something there.
Thank you very much. I want to make sure I give the other gentleman time to speak. And
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Jim Carlskin. I'm a lobbyist for the VFW. I'm also a former legislator and also lobby for school administrators here in the Capitol. I am a Vietnam veteran, and we do have I sponsored a bill last year working with Carly and others, and I've already spoke with Representative Johnson about the Claim Shark bill that we had last year. You as a committee passed it out that as members, if you remember last year, it passed out of committee unanimously. It didn't make it for various reasons. It didn't become law. But we're going to try it again this year, so it's called the Claim Shark bill, and you'll see that. And I'd also like to invite you, members of the committee and members of the House and Senate, to a reception Tuesday night, January the 21st, this coming Tuesday, at what they call now the Hotel Topeka, the old Capitol Plaza. It's in the ballroom, starts at 5:30, goes to 9, so please drop in. Bring a guest if you wish, but you're all welcome to attend. Tuesday, 21st, 5:30 it starts at Hotel Topeka, and you're more than welcome to attend. So thank you, Mr. Chair and committee.
thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, I did have one question, and I'm sorry I didn't get my hand up sooner. On the service-connected 100% rating, you have two numbers. Do we add those two together to get the disabled number, or do we, or how do you identify that better for me?
Yes, ma'am. Down at the bottom there, it's got 47,000. That's everybody that has a disability rating from 0% to 100%. There is such a thing as a 0% disability rating, which means you have a condition that if it progresses is going to impact you in the future. So you get a 0% rating for that.
47,000 is the total.
47,000 is all people that have a disability rating. The 10,567 are the cohort that are rated 100%.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate that.
Is there anybody else that has anything? Yes, Representative Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, all of the presenters. I just have a quick question, probably for General Turner or Eric. We've discussed this about, I'm sure you're taking this in, of how many visits you're getting to not only to the up here, the offices up here, but also the mobile vans. Are you keeping track of all of the veterans that are coming for whatever services they're looking for? And I'm sure you are you forwarding that to somebody here in the committee so that we could take a look at that? If you could answer that, sir.
Yes, sir. I mean, so these numbers are meticulously tracked, I think, through, and we actually incorporate the numbers from our own veteran service representatives and their contacts and their transactions and the claims and benefits, as well as those of the VCAP, the Veterans Claims Assistance Program grant program that integrates in services that are provided by the VFW and the American Legion as well. And they're service officers that are out there doing these things. So we do collect all that data, so we do have numbers that we have not previously. We will include that in the report when we come next to provide that update for the agency, a little bit more details.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Anything else for the good of the committee? One last thing that I have is that it'll be coming down, news will be coming down the line in reference to our vet caucus that we'll be starting that back up and doing the weekly, I believe if I remember right, weekly lunches, and we'll have speakers. If you have a topic, if you have a person that could come speak or a topic that you want to hear a speaker on, please let us know. Betty or I know about that because Betty's right now putting together a list of people that we can either have in our committee meeting or in the caucus meeting, depending on what the topic is. So please turn that in and let us know what you'd like to hear about. Anything else for the committee? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you. And again, thank you for being on the committee.